So the webinar is being brought to you by TADA, and we're very happy to do this today. I am Harsh Kapula. I'm the president and co-founder of TADA, and I'm really delighted to be putting on this webinar with my colleague, Sid Guha, who is the VP of Product Management and Development for TADA. Let me start with this idea. TADA is being recognized in the industry as the system of action for supply chains. And the reason why this is very important, we feel, is that literally every customer has come to us saying, look, I have a bunch of systems. I'm having a hard time getting people across my supply chain to be able to respond as disruptions are happening across my supply chain, literally by the hour, by the minute, and I need to have a system of action. And this is really at the core of what TADA is, that it allows you to respond to disruptions in hours, maybe even in minutes, instead of weeks. And that's a profound difference. It changes the clock speed of an organization, and it compresses time, the amount of time that an organization takes to respond to a change, whether the change is on the demand side or the change is upstream on the supply side, as it impacts your factories. We have come up with a way to have a safe start supply chain, because the other thing that is very important to all of our customers is they want something that can be deployed very rapidly. In a world where things are changing so fast, fast implementation, which allows them to launch in weeks, is a fundamentally important thing. What we have also done is to make it a low-risk investment, so that you're able to actually see the power of the capability that we have for the clean to build solution. And you will actually see it because Sid is going to demo this capability today. It will also allow you to try key features, focus functionality that actually solves the problem that you have. And then with a full confidence that the clean to build system of action that we have for production, it actually integrates so that you're able to scale across for a full end-to-end supply chain system of action over time at a pace that you feel comfortable with. And that's really what we're trying to get you to. Now, I want to pivot forward and talk about what clean to build is as we think about it, as our customers have asked us for, because it is so crucial for any company that's manufacturing things. You're making things, and in order to make things, you got material coming in from the top, from upstream, and you're responding to disruptions as they're happening, even as your demand is also fluctuating across the different SKUs that you have. So in today's demo, we're going to talk about the problems that customers are facing, which is that today, if I'm in a factory that has, let's say, 17 production lines, I need to understand that, some disruption happened upstream in the supply. I literally may not have all the material that I need this morning, so I can run those 17 production lines. You want to know which lines am I able to produce per the schedule that I have, and which are the lines on which I cannot, because that means sending people home and lots of problems that come as a result of it. But I also want to know that looking into the future. Now, once I know that my production lines are going to be disrupted either today or in the near future, I want to be able to understand what my options are. If I cannot build product A, can I build product B that allows me to recover the revenue, allows me to improve my customer fill rate in real time? That's for today. If I think about tomorrow, I want to be able to say, and what people do is when there's a change in production schedules for multiple reasons, because demand changed or other disruptions hit, people spend a lot of time on analysis, pulling information from different systems, and it takes a lot of time. You'll be able to do this very quickly because it provides you the what-if capability that you need. But also, it gives you multiple alternatives that you can exercise. And then what we have also is scenario modeling, which is another problem that people have. And then the last bit is I need to reduce my inventory because inventories tend to build when your throughput is impacted. And what are the options that are available to you? Now, before I hand it over to Sid to actually show you a demo, I want to make another point, which is if you have any questions, please go to the Q&A button and put your questions in, even as we are speaking at any time. And we will work hard to address as many of them as we can during the session. Now, last step before I turn it over to Sid is that we want to kind of do a little bit of a polling question here, just to get a sense for the audience and what kinds of things you are doing today. And so as I turn it over, I'm going to ask my team to put up the first poll question. And if you can answer it, we'll look at the results in about 30 seconds. And then move forward from there. So how clearly can your team see which products are clean to build today? Okay, so it's very interesting that the biggest answer is somewhat clearly with a lot of manual checks, 50%. Nobody has said very clearly across all lines and sites. And then not clearly is about 33%, and we do not have a clean to build view today. That's very interesting. So with that, I am going to go to Sid. I'm going to stop sharing and turn it over to Sid for the demo. Sid, all yours.
All right, thanks, Harsh. So, just connecting to that poll question, right, where a lot of people responded by saying it's very manual, right? So that is what we are here to solve. So just to summarize what Harsh was covering is part of the challenges were, primarily 3 challenges for any factory. When you are starting your line in the morning, a lot of times you don't have forward visibility into what will be the disruptions, right? What can impact the start of your line, or while you are running the line, what are the stoppages? And the reason you are unable to do that is because you have multiple people, different processes and systems. They are not together for you to have that forward visibility, right? The second one is, as with any factory, there are changes. And whenever there are changes, the team goes through an extensive process of analyzing, and it can take days to understand what a schedule changes is doing to the factory. And the third one is, finance usually comes to you and says, it's like, hey, how come your inventory is so high? You are almost double the budget of inventory you have, right? So how do we solve it? So as part of the solution of TADA, what we have is the system of action, which lets you sense, understand, and respond to disruption. And how do we do it? We first set up a digital twin of your business. And what does that do is it connects your people, process, and your data together in one fabric, right? So what you are seeing here on the screen is, before I get to the specific capability, I just want to share some of the differentiation of TADA, right? So we break down the problems into the fundamentals of the supply chain. For in this example, we are talking about a factory. And to understand what is clean to build for a factory so that there are no disruption to the schedule. So what are the fundamentals? You want to know your parts, your products, your bill of material, what is your schedules, your demands, and your inventory and purchase orders, all of this information. And if you think about it, this is usually scattered around multiple different systems where you have to go from different screens to look into the information. And then on top of it, it is not connected. So what we do is we organize all that in one fabric. So the first one I will cover is parts, where you can see all the parts which your factory are consuming. And then you can see all your products. And one of the unique capability of TADA is we have something called a 360. And what it does is it takes the point of view of a product. So imagine that you are a product and you're looking around. So you can see what is my bill of material, what is my demand, which production line this product is going to. All of those information are there in these 360s. Right? So from the products, we go into like bill of materials, where it is all integrated as part of the solution. your entire bill of material with all the hierarchies and the sub-assemblies and all that complexity. It's integrated as part of the solution. And then from bill of material, I'll move into like schedule. You can see the schedule, which is currently your plan for the weeks for the different products which you are making. Moving on, also as part of the solution, inventory, purchase orders, and all of those are integrated where you can see that what are the different purchase orders which are due, what is how much inventory do you have, how many days of supply do you have, and then finally the demand. This is the actual demand which is coming to the factory. Week by week, how is the demand, which particular products are increasing and decreasing, right? So it's a lot of information, but what we do is we are combining those into one fabric, so that the purpose is so that you can do a better clean to build, right? So the next step is, as I'm going through it, is, as you know, data is always a problem, right? So how do we solve that? So what we have done is we have connectors which can pull information from your different enterprise systems, from Snowflake to SAP to discrete, databases to Excel file. So you have a plugin which helps you pull all that information. And once it is pulled in, we run real-time validation using the digital twin. So it is not just a data validation, but it is a network data validation where it is looking for, are there any discrepancies in the data? For example, you have parts, but the price is missing, or there is no demand, right? Or there is demand, but no inventory. So we do these cross validations and show you what is the gap in or errors in your data, right? So this is running in real time. As soon as it detects it, it shows you, and you have also the ability to fix it through the solution. And so this helps in making sure that the information which you have, if there is an error, you are aware of it. So that's the second capability. So
very important capability because TADA actually helps customers clean their data, the data that they actually need in order to run their business, and not everything. So it's very powerful. But let me suggest that we actually put up the second poll question. So the question is around build disruptions. What most often prevents a product from being clean to build in your environment? So this is interesting. What most often prevents a product from being clean to build? Obviously, component availability issues, 50%. Schedule changes not reflected in time, good point. Inaccurate or incomplete bill of material data refers to the thing that Sid just showed you. And we usually find out only after the delays occur. So very interesting set of problems. And this is exactly what TADA's system of action, which is clean to build, around the clean to build solution, or the production system of action, addresses. Thank you. Sid, back over to you.
Yep. Thanks, Harsh. So actually, it's a good segue into the solution which I'm covering, or the capability, which is the clean to build. So what I showed earlier is we have formed this fabric for your business where we have connected your parts, products, bill of material, demand, inventory, all these different fundamental supply chain elements into one fabric, right? So what it now allows us to do is, in real time, you can see what is your clean to build. So here what you're seeing is there are two products which are built in this factory, and these are the plan for the next, say, 8 weeks. And what we do is, looking into the material availability, we are finding out where the problems is. For this particular product, it is all green. That means all the components are available, but here we have a problem. For this product, there is chances of partial builds, there is shortages happening, and then it is actually becoming better. So when you see it, you want to know, what is causing it. So what we have done is, for each one of them, we have these radars. What it does is it gives you that forward visibility. So in the middle, you have your day 0, which is today, and each of these bands are the weeks forward. So here, as you can see, it will give you the details about, hey, which component is actually short, how many are available, what is the shortage, what is in transit, what is the impact going to be. So it lets you understand very quickly what is the problem, right? And also you can see the impact this will do to your order board, right? And how much is your readiness because of that, right? And we just don't stop there. Like as part of the solution today, I'm covering clean to build, but in the further sessions, I will go into how the workflows are there. But for today, as you are scrolling down, you can see where the impact is. So that build is getting impacted because one of the part, you don't have enough inventory and the shipments are actually coming in much later. So it's very color coordinated where each color means something, where red means that you need to order material, but you need to expedite it because it is within the lead time. And the pinks are where it's showing that you have stuff which you need to order right away. And then we also track to inbound shipments. So you know when, not only what inventory you have, but what inventory is coming, when it will arrive. And then we recompute to tell you where the gaps are. So this way the planners are able to see quickly where the disruptions are going to happen. And then we have workflows, which I will cover in another sessions on how the different teams collaborate with each other to resolve some of these things, right? And then you can see it across your entire build plan of where the problems are. And this lets you focus on the problem and where all the analysis is already done. And now you can make decisions like, should I run the line? What parts do I need to expedite? And who do I need to talk to in the logistics in order to make that happen? Okay. So then I will move into the third section, but we have a poll before that.
Yeah. So Sid, before we go to the next one, let's run the poll. So this now addresses what do people think about, and it addresses the question of scenario modeling for build readiness. Do you run what if scenarios when component availability or schedules change? Okay. So about a third of the people say that they run scenario analysis. The question is not whether or not just that you do scenario analysis. The question is, how long does it take? In most organizations that we work with, it's an effort that takes a lot of time that you don't have because you need to be making decisions, pretty much in real time. Occasionally 17%, rarely is 33%. We do not model scenarios today is about 17%. So very interesting, which is a good segue for Sid to explain how it is that we help our customers do that scenario modeling so they know what their options are.
Thanks, Harsh. So that comes to the last, the third key capability of the solution where you can run scenarios. So think of a scenario for a factory where you are expecting, say, an increase in production. So I will go through the workflow where, say, for two of these products, for a particular week, you got a call from your demand planning team and say, hey, can you make 20% or 25% more product? So in order to streamline the overall, what is the impact, what we have done is you select all this, and then you just click this button and that it runs, recomputes the entire network to see what is the problem. So what are you seeing here is you can see what was your original, what is the scenario, and what is the change you are asking for. And based on that, it looks into the network, all inventory, what you have, what is incoming, what are the other builds you are doing, and tells you where the risk is. In this case, it's saying that for one of the product, you can still make 25% more product because you have more inventory. But for the other one, you can only do partial. And not only that, you can actually see why can you do partial, what is the constraint, and then how that will impact you, right? So this actually is a very powerful way to look into not only demand changes, you can run scenarios around lead times and supply shortages, multiple difference. It becomes a sandbox for your planning team to quickly respond to any changes in demand or supply. I think that was the three key capabilities I wanted to cover. And just maybe a last point on the value, what we have seen for our clients after implementing these solutions is that your schedule adherence, plan versus actual, have significantly increased in cases up to more than 40-45%. Productivity has increased up to 30% in some of the factories, and that has led to increase in revenue recognized for those factory for that month, right? It helped you plan much better, which improves productivity and also your throughput from.
We have some questions that have come in, Sid. One of the questions is, what time horizon are you talking about? And
So,
do you consider all the data, and are we current on the information?
okay, good question. So I would say the time horizon depends upon the industry. So we have, clients which are on, say, a 4 week to sometimes it can go out almost to like 12 weeks. So it depends upon the industry and the business on what time horizon we want to build the solution around.
It's a configuration for us.
It's really a configuration for us, yes.
Yeah. So the other questions that have come in, and there's quite a lot of interest in questions. How does Clean to Build differentiate between parts that are missing because of the data issues versus true supply shortages?
Okay. So what we do is, as part of the Clean to Build, is we actually focus on what are the problem parts. Say, suppose you're running your factory, you have, say, 50,000 different SKUs, right? So, but not all are the problems, right? There are only a certain group of parts which are the problems. So through our solution, we can narrow it down to those 1,000 parts which are the problem, which helps us manage both the data issues and also the supply chain gaps in, say, inventory and all that at the same time, because you have now a focused list of parts which you need to work on.
The question, Sid, is how does your Clean to Build capability integrate with my ERP?
So as I mentioned earlier, right? So we have connectors which pull information from your systems, and we have synchronization in cases where after the Clean to Build and the what ifs, we have synchronized that with your system too. So that is also possible. But we sit on top of your systems. We are very non-disruptive, and we pull information from your ERP, MRP system, engineering systems, and all those to create the fabric which helps us solve the problem.
Yeah, I mean, it pulls it from multiple systems, including your transportation lanes and all of that. The question is the system able to go one step further and recommend the best solution, not just evaluate scenarios?
Yes, we do have solutions around it. Maybe we can have a different session around it where we look into the constraints in the supply chain and the demand, and we can recommend to the businesses, what kind of production plan you can create, which will give you the best results.
So it's actually going to recommend an executable plan that
based on your
allows you to know
constraints and your demand.
Yeah. If let's say line 3 is going to get shut down because of a lack of parts, what else can you build on that line
Yes.
immediately that is actually Clean to Build, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then can you write it back to the systems of record once you make that decision to actually build that particular one?
Yes. We do have the capability through using APIs and other tech where we write it back into the system of records. Yes.
So the chosen option that then gets executed by writing that decision back to the systems of record and all the other systems, so that is recognizing and then recomputed and closes the loop. Okay.
Correct, yes.
Can you expand a little bit more on your demand planning capability as part of this solution?
As part of this particular solution, this is more about creating and managing the production plan. So we use demand as is, and then formulate what is the best production plan you can have for your factory.
Okay.
Managing around your constraints.
Great. I know we're at a time and we want to respect everybody's time, but there seem to be a lot of interest and a lot of questions. Like I said, I just want to repeat one more time. Please do reach out to us individually, and we'll make sure that we actually demonstrate it in more detail so that you get not just an answer like we did today, but show you that's actually available to you to use.